All right, you're listening to Speaking of Voice Acting, and my special guest is one of the most, I guess, diverse actors. That's the wrong word. I just fucked that thing up.
Diverse isn't a bad word.
Yeah, I don't. What word am I looking for? It means you did a lot of things, did a lot of roles. It's Jessica Osborne, people.
I have experience now.
Yes.
Yes, I'm somewhat experienced.
Yes. No, but you are not only one of the most talented actors that I've worked with, but you've done a lot of different roles across a lot of different games. And that was what I was trying to convey, but there was no word in the English language to properly convey it. So the word that came out was diverse. And so.
That's fair. It works.
Yes.
I'll take it. Yeah, I've done a lot of different things. That's true.
Yeah. So let's talk about that.
Sure.
What was the first thing you voice acted for? What got you into voice acting more?
Oh, wow. Okay. It was one of your characters for interesting NPCs. It was Duraz, the orc
The orc
in
yes.
Skyrim. She was just one of those random NPCs you could take along.
Yeah, the bounty hunter that didn't actually use the vanilla bounty system because I didn't know how it worked.
Oh, good to know.
So she was just a regular follower.
Yeah.
But she had this whole like thing that was built around my ignorance of keeping what you kill.
Yeah, so she was the very first. Gosh, what did I do? I think I had grabbed the interesting NPCs mod and was just so taken with it. I was like, holy crap, this is really good. So I found your page and saw an open casting call, and I was like, I'm just gonna try this. I can do a gritty orc voice. Sure, why not? And the rest is sort of history.
Yes. Very good history. It's going to be in a book somewhere. Kids are going to learn about it.
I don't know about that.
Maybe not like, the boring kind of history, but if the history that will get the kids interested.
The cool how I got into voice acting history, yes.
Yeah. It'll be like the accompaniment piece to the statue outside of the school.
Sure. Yeah, we'll go with that.
Yeah, why not? So we had you voice Draz, and then just a bunch of just badass warriors, I believe.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there are other random little NPCs I'm forgetting, but I think the next major one I wound up doing was Froa, because I can do a pretty good Nord voice or accent, I guess.
Yeah, and that was the thing. It wasn't just the using your regular voice. You had to do accents. You had to do the Nord voice for Froa. You had to do the High Elf voice for Geralith.
Yep, I bust out with a British accent on the regular, so I end up getting cast or casting myself as Altmer a lot in mods.
Did you start off already having this skill? Is it something you had to develop for mod acting? Or?
The accent thing is one of those things I've always kind of messed with, just playing pretend as a kid or just quoting movie lines, dumb crap like that. Being a Harry Potter fan and watching a lot of British things, I picked up a British accent fairly easily.
Oh, okay.
The orc type voices and the Nord style voices came around because my natural voice is just so low. So it's not a stretch to go a little bit deeper.
Yeah, but the Nord accent is kind of hard. It's something people do have problems with.
It is a tricky one. I actually basically stole mine from one of the male voice actors in Skyrim. I don't know. He's the one you hear all the time everywhere. So I just kind of playing the game picked it up.
Ask for forgiveness, not permission.
Exactly.
That's the thing. I think because of your deeper register, you get, I don't want to say typecast, but those are the first kind of roles that people think of because that's your natural voice. But you can also pitch up. You can also do these other type of voices.
Yeah.
So like, for instance, one of the first non-badass, well, she's kind of a badass, but not the stereotypical badass character you did was Hope Lies for Fallout 3.
Yes.
And that she was a super religious character, but I think the thing that people appreciated it, she was religious, but she wasn't like there to be mocked for her religion. Right?
It was just a part of her, which I really liked. She's one of the characters that felt just, like you could know this person and actually meet them in life. She wasn't really like larger than life. She was just the girl next door kind of girl who happened to also have a shotgun.
Yes. And loved Marty Robbins.
Yeah. That is the part I couldn't get into with her because I'm not a country fan. But
yeah, I was like, come on, sing these songs.
We'll let Hope have that. Yeah. Also, I really just can't sing very well. So. Okay. That would have been super challenging.
It is funny. We would have just had to go with instrumentals. We did have to do that with one actor.
Oh gosh.
You try to sing it and like, yeah, let's just go with the instrumental.
It just wasn't. It's just not. No.
Yeah.
Like I can carry a little bit of a tune, but not that great.
Yeah. I mean, like that was more of like we both agreed. It wasn't like me just saying that. That would have been me. But,
yeah. Lots of auto tune. It's fine.
Yeah, auto tune. That's. We could have auto-tuned you.
Oh, now we think of it. Oh, well.
It might have been not lore-friendly, though. I don't know.
I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that you would think is not lore-friendly, but then there's always just some kind of, like, lampshading going on to where they can get away with it. So.
And that's the weird thing. Like, I still have not played a single Fallout game, even though I have them all sitting... waiting for me in my Steam library. Yeah. So I don't know the Fallout universe like at all.
Yeah, but you do know America.
True. I like a character is a character. You don't have to always be intimately familiar with the source material. So
well, that's the thing. There's no like funky pronunciations like there are with Elder Scrolls. Like with Elder Scrolls, that's like one of the problems. Like you'll get people who haven't played the games where they'll say Jarl, Stormcloak.
Right, exactly. Because some of the stuff is just very weird, and I apologize. My cat is occasionally.
Oh, no, that's fine.
He's occasionally interjecting.
I'm sorry. I apologize to the cat for having horrible questions.
Yeah.
So.
Wow.
Yeah. So like, you never really get those weird pronunciations because if you say. If I have a line where it says Mojave, you know how to say Mojave. It's not going to be like, you know.
Yeah, or like
there.
you can easily look it up because it's out there.
Yeah, it exists. It's a place.
Right.
It's mostly sand, but technically you could live there.
Pretty much.
And you also did recently for our Settlers mod, the Adoring Fan type settler.
Yes, and that was that was outside of my usual type for sure, but it was so much fun. Because I basically just got to be as insane and hyper as possible.
Yeah. And see, I think that's something that, I mean, you did it really well. You do it as well or better, I would say, than people who are normally or, you know, that hyper and like just out of control.
People who just actually live like that.
Yeah. People who are always turned up to 11.
Yes.
They're out there. They're probably eating a lot of sugar.
It's true.
And possibly methamphetamines. But those people, like, you know, it's natural for them. For you, I imagine it's not as natural, but yet you're still able to sort of capture that and have that authenticity. So I think that's something that, you know, you got to put on your demo track for sure. Maybe not that specific role, but, you know, that's important to let people know that I got this in my holster. You
that
know?
Crazy amount of energy. I also, little known fact, can play a pretty solid old woman voice these days.
Oh, nice.
I've had to pull that for a few different auditions and things.
Say, back in my day.
Back in my day, we had those sort of things.
Nice. That was perfect. See? Perfect. Well, how'd you learn to do an old woman voice? Is that something you always had?
That was actually something I just messed around with because, there was a Xanadu, a Legend of Xanadu. It's an old Falcom video game from Japanland that they're doing a fan dub of it. And I like to do fan dubs on rare occasions for fun more than anything and just like to try practicing roles I haven't done before because it's a harmless and safe environment to do so. And there was an old woman character and I was just like, why not? I'll try it. So I messed around with it a little bit and that's where that came from.
Nice.
I did not get cast for that role, but I did get cast for something else.
Using the old woman voice?
No, actually. Other than a random NPC. I am a random NPC old woman, I think.
So you have voiced for other mods as well, like really big mods. Forgotten City for one.
Yep.
Was that a high elf? What particular role was that?
Ismar was just I think she was a Nord, but I was basically speaking in this voice. So she was a Nord who did not have an accent.
Ah, okay.
She just kind of sounded warm and motherly and very nice.
There are Nords like that. The fans kind of like lose their shit when they hear them. It's like, American accent.
How dare you give a Nord an American accent? Accent consistency is not one of the strong points of the Elder Scrolls series, I have noticed.
No. Like, just look at the vanilla game. Go send your complaints to Bethesda.
Exactly.
But yeah.
It's not our fault.
And then, Ismar, that is a Nord-sounding name. I don't know why I said high elf. And then for Enderal, I'm going to fuck up this pronunciation. Dijam Onelis?
Dijam Onelis.
Oh, there you go.
Something like that, if I recall correctly.
Sounds Argonian almost.
She's, Enderal is in its own self-contained thing built on top of.
It's not Elder Scrolls.
Yeah,
right.
It's completely its own game. It's basically just using the Skyrim engine to build the game.
An own game, own story, own lore. Like they had a previous game, didn't they? Before Enderal.
Yeah. This is a sequel to a game that called Nerim, which was built on the bones of the Oblivion engine. And apparently it was quite good. Yeah,
really good. Like, and this game, actually, Enderal won an award, didn't it? At the Game Awards for Best Mod.
Yes.
Big deal.
Forgotten City also won a few awards.
Oh, that's right.
Or won an award for writing, I believe, down in Australia, the homeland of the author.
I think Nick even got like funding to create a new game. Like he's just going places. That dude is. Yeah.
Yes, he is. And the writer behind Enderal did go places, and that's how I got one of my other roles. Actually,
exactly. That you mentioned that before to me. From your work on Enderal, you're actually able to get your first pro acting gig. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes. I play a lead party member in Spellforce 3, which just came out in December.
Yeah.
I play Iria of the Light. She's an elf.
And that is it's a big deal. It's like it's like a big game.
It's like a real game made by a real company. It's crazy. It was mind-blowing.
You had to go into a studio and everything. It's like this is not my bedroom. I'm recording and there's like, acoustic foam everywhere and it's just,
Well, funny story about that.
No, you recorded in another bedroom?
I recorded it in my closet on a Skype call with the studio in London at about 3 a.m.
What? See, I had all these questions lined up for like, what was that like? What was go in a real studio and have all this like,
Well, see, there were plans to go and like travel and do that, but ultimately it was just more convenient for all parties involved not to try and deal with that on a scheduling front. Because otherwise I was going to have to book it over to LA and they would still be, Skyping in or whatever. But apparently my home studio had decent enough quality. So,
okay.
Yeah.
Props
so you can do it, everybody, if you build a decent studio and it doesn't have to cost $1 million.
If you build it, they will come.
Yeah, something like that.
They being the voice acting people.
Yes.
The casting directors.
Yeah. But it was super fun. It was I don't know, about 3 or 4 3-hour sessions where we just rolled through the lines. They gave me some light direction. I did the thing.
How many lines total in the game?
Oh gosh. It was quite a lot because you figured there was all the story content. And this is like a traditional CRPG, sort of like a Baldur's Gate kind of thing.
Yeah, like top down, all that stuff.
Yeah, 3/4 down. And so there was also like the little lines like or interesting, or like when you have them interact with stuff.
Yeah.
So there's like a billion variations of those, or other directional helpful commentary. And then, of course, any sounds or speech in battles.
That's always fun.
Yeah, which amounted to everything from actually like saying things to like screaming like I'm being murdered to, all that stuff. Just any number of nonverbals.
Is this sort of like you're laying down the foundation for a career where you can do more things? Like you have something to build off, you have something to show, you have contacts, all that?
That's the hope. So far I've done enough stuff, and it's kind of I haven't done a lot of active seeking out of work or auditioning very actively for a lot of stuff. Most of my things have kind of come to me by way of word of mouth and just, being decent enough as a person to work with.
So you've been able to like sort of make connections and then move from like, person to person and just like market yourself that way, which is always a good thing. You've done commercial work as well. Yeah,
a lot of like just small internet videos in the advertising space. That came about more from my day job as a designer / art director I used to work at advertising agencies, and I've kept connections there and basically told them, hey, I'm a voice actor. If you ever need any VO work, contact me. And that's how all of that comes about. So that's like very simple, quick turn work. It's a different style from character work for sure.
But you're bombarded with commercials every day in your life, so you have something to draw from there, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you sort of, if you really listen to it, you get a sense for the style that is currently in.
Oh, there's different styles?
For different industries.
Yeah.
Because, like hair products like Smooth and Shine, you want to sound like the not necessarily like the up and coming sexy girl,
right.
but there's a vocal
and
style.
then if you're pitching like some kind of medicine or something, you have to be soothing and calm, and you don't want people to freak out when you're describing all the horrible side effects that are going to kill you.
Exactly. Or you need to be approachable but sound like you're authoritative and you know what you're talking about. The directions that you get from agencies are inevitably hilarious and all over the place 90% of the time, if you get them at all. So it's always a little interesting to try and self-direct.
But that's good because you're able to draw from those experiences to do like commercials for the Atomic Radio mod as well.
Yeah, and those are interesting because they are anachronistic's not the right word, but like they are intended to sound like a relic from a different time. So advertising sounded very different, in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s than it does today.
We've grown a lot more cynical, and they have to kind of adapt to figure out how to pitch us.
Yeah, everybody today wants you to sound super authentic or just sound real. So you have to sound like, your friend, your neighbor, or whatever, not the announcer who is going to pitch you this amazing thing. Which is kind of what the Atomic Radio stuff tends to be more of, true, I think.
True. But yeah, in addition, one other mod that we skipped from your list here is Maids to Deception.
Yes, that was a long time ago.
How did you get that particular role, or those 3 roles? I think
that the mod author heard me in interesting NPCs and basically was like, "Hi, I like you as." I think he heard me as Geralith, because the first one he wanted to cast me as was I think it was Yanaria. Oh no, he threw these 3 at me almost at the same time. Kadesh just sort of sounds like me. Kazark is an orc, so I'm pretty sure he's like, hey, you did a great orc. Can you do another? And then Yanaria is a Altmer, so of course I had to put on the accent and sound arrogant as possible.
So then when people hear your adoring fan, you're going to get all these floods of requests for that type of character, see?
For crazy hyper children, maybe.
It's just going to expand from there, Are there any other secret voices that you've been hiding from us?
Other secret
besides
voices?
The old woman voice?
Well, the role that I did get cast for in the Xanadu fan dub is actually the goddess Ishtar, and she's very motherly and sounds like a goddess. So it's an oddly different turn from my usual like hard-nosed warrior woman that I usually get cast as, because she's very caring and motherly and wants to hold you close and all that type of stuff. So it's
I feel safe
sort of
now.
Polar opposite.
I'm
it's
in
very
my
soothing.
The world isn't scary anymore, but then I open up my Twitter feed and it's scary again. But
well, that's what you get for going to Twitter.
I can't help it. It's so I don't know, it's nice to get that instant gratification of a like. But that's not
True. Twitter is a wonderful place if you curate it properly.
Yeah.
That is where I hang out most of the time on my social medias.
Social media Twitter handle is
At Little Cup of Joe.
yes.
Because I like coffee and my initials are J-O. There's a pun in there, kinda. I guess.
So yeah, follow Jessica on her Twitter. That's the thing, it's that you could either slave for months and months and try and build something like a mod, or just, you know, do voice acting for a mod or something like that, or you can just post some like 140 character tweet and then just get instant gratification of likes.
Depends on how, you know, what do you want out of it?
Yeah. I need that instant gratification. I'm addicted to Twitter, man. It's great.
It's fine. Twitter is wonderful. Sometimes it's a cesspool, but it's mostly wonderful.
One of the things I learned about you from Twitter is that you are a dungeon master for D&D. Who would have thought?
I sure am.
Yeah, after years, like when I remember we were talking about like D&D with another actor a long time ago, and we're like, Dungeons and Dragons, nerds.
Yeah, exactly. We're like, whoa, that's like way too nerdy for us.
Yeah, and then now it's like the big thing. Like Critical Role has exploded, and it's just like even I'm like, oh, how can I start my own D&D?
Seriously, it like tabletop gaming is like in the midst of a giant renaissance, and I definitely think a lot of it is because of Critical Role, which is literally a bunch of nerdy ass voice actors playing D&D.
Yes.
It's how I knew about D&D long ago, but I never really thought of playing it because I was like, wow, there's math involved. I don't want to do that. But after seeing like a game actually played and how it could be, I was like, yeah, that looks like fun.
And especially if you can do, like, for voice actors, I think especially because you're able to like put on these different hats, like play different characters and use funny voices and stuff like that.
It's literally improv.
Yeah.
Just with some extra rules.
But the rules make it fun too, because if there's a game, if there's a plot, if there's a point to it, you know, it's not just, you're just not just sitting there like doing your voices, you're actually immersed in a world. I think it kind of helps. I don't know, I've never played it, but I imagine it does. Well,
if you're ever game, you can guest on my show.
Can I use my Boston accent? Wicked smart.
You can you're wicked smart. It's probably better than my Boston accent.
No, I just started it today. I made a recorder mod for Potastic, and I turned her into a Boston person from Boston. So she's not recorder, she's recorder.
Oh, great. Recorder. My Boston accent inevitably turns into a New York accent because I have family in New York. So
I don't know the difference, so I just know the wicked part. Yeah.
The difference is so subtle, but it is noticeable. Like Boston and or New York people will totally call you out if you are trying to do one but do the other.
Yeah.
And that's dangerous because Boston and New York people are scary. No, seriously, like they're awesome, but wow.
Good to know. But yeah, tell us about your D&D project, the show that you're doing right now.
Yeah, so it is I am the dungeon master, so I run the show, so to speak, and try to kill the players every week or every other week when we air.
You're like the old guy on the Smurfs. I don't know what's his name.
Gargamel?
Gargamel, there you go.
Not quite.
Every episode you try to kill them, but they keep getting away with it.
Yeah, more or less. Essentially they all have their characters that they play, and I play all of the NPCs. Imagine that. It's like I have experience in that sort of thing. And any kind of monster creatures or anything within the environment I control and put them in the scene and describe it for them, and then they play their character reacting to it, and we go back and forth, and that's more or less how it goes. With the addition of dice rolling to determine things and see if somebody dies or whatever.
See, how much preparation goes into that? Because I imagine there's a lot of stuff that goes unused just because the characters decide to take things in a different direction.
To a degree. I mean, my current players are very good about sort of picking up on my nonverbal cues or my hints to go in a given direction.
Nudge, nudge.
But yeah, but you do have to prepare quite a bit. I mean, your mileage may vary depending on your DMing style. My DMing style is to prepare and pre-write a lot of material so I can narrate it without doing a lot of and then and maybe kind of stuff. I try to actually use my acting skill a little and immerse them that way. But it takes, I mean, I spend the better part of a week kind of noodling around with ideas in my head just whenever I have a free mental moment. And then I just end up sitting down usually a couple nights beforehand and bang out all the actual writing and prep for a couple hours.
Nice. And it's fun, so it's not really work, right?
No, it's super fun. It can be a little daunting at times when you're trying to think 3 steps ahead of 4 or 5 other people. Because 2 heads are better than 1, and 4 or 5 is way better than 1. So inevitably, anything I come up with, they're gonna completely smash.
It's why Gargamel never got to eat a Smurf. It's
pretty
really
much
difficult.
Pretty much.
Smurfs are smart.
Yeah.
So we'll have the links for all that in the description, of course.
Yes. The show is currently titled Wishmakers. The world setting is one of my own creation. It's not based on any pre-existing D&D multiverse lore. It's all original, and if you like fairy tales and you like D&D, you will probably like the show because it's kind of a mashup of both.
What is the conceit? Do the NPCs or the players have to make a wish at some point? I'm assuming that's it, right?
Yes, actually. The whole idea is these are all characters that have come from their own worlds, and they get dumped into this magical world called Rinthia, which in their legends, it was like a maze, they thought, but it turns out to be a whole world. And they have to figure out how to pass this trial, and there will be 1 wish granted. But there are 5 people that have arrived.
So they have to work together to a point, and then they have to turn on each other.
Probably.
It's like Survivor.
I am not sure what's going to happen.
Because that can get ugly. I've watched all seasons of Survivor, and it gets really ugly at the end when the team has to turn on each other.
Yep, that's the thing. There is but 1 wish, and just 1. So they have to figure out how to deal with that at some point.
Either way, it's all good for the audience.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, it's all entertaining for those of us watching.
Sucks for them, good for us. But
right.
So that please check it out. It's fucking awesome. I believe I may show up with my Boston accent someday. Who knows?
It's wicked smart. Yeah. I don't know about that, but it's fun.
Wicked cool for sure.
Yeah,
wicked smart.
It's all the past sessions are on YouTube as well, so you're not obligated to watch the live stream. And eventually, I will release it as a podcast when I get time to edit all of it. Cool. Someday. Yeah.
I'm sure.
For those of you who, like me, are commuting in a vehicle way too often.
Oh yeah. That is tough. There's no such thing as good traffic. I wonder if there's a place where it's just this traffic's awesome. Yeah,
maybe if there's 5 people
that
live there. Small towns, I don't know.
Yeah,
where they have 1 dirt road.
Yeah. The last thing you've done recently is a game whose trailer released recently called Deceiver.
Yep.
You play a person named Seven.
Yeah. I don't know much more about her than that.
Did she eat 9?
Probably.
Yes.
I don't know. She seems pretty tough, so that wouldn't shock me.
Really? So you don't have much
that game
context
looks pretty cool
for the role?
No. I mean, it was honestly maybe 2 lines.
Okay.
I got the cues that she's a bit of a tough type. That was more or less the size of it. So, I'm talking in this voice, basically.
I see. Oh, that makes sense then. If it's only a few lines, then you don't really need a whole backstory. You don't.
Yeah, there's none of this. What's my motivation?
That would be more annoying if they actually try to direct and do all this. Look, it's 2 lines. I got this. It's
pretty much. Yeah, he's just basically hey, she kind of sounds a little bit tough, and a lot of times if the writing is decent enough, you can kind of infer from there.
Yeah.
Which incidentally is what I like about your stuff. It's very easy to come up with a character voice because it's in there already.
Which helps because I'm too lazy to direct people. Well, it's different. It's different with mods than with pro work, because mods, you don't necessarily have the time to, like, just be there and sort of, do every line, direct every line, and just, make sure that it's exactly how you want. And besides, it's not always the best thing anyway. Like, sometimes the actor has a better interpretation than what you had in your head. So
right. Yeah. And well, that's the thing is 9 times out of 10, like in the case of the more commercial products, it's not the writer who is directing you in the studio. Yeah. It's a director who knows how to direct. Yeah. Sometimes you don't want the writer actually in there trying to direct it because they're going to give you too much. Yeah. And then you, as an actor, you don't quite know what to go for anymore.
Exactly. And the thing is, if in the end it does come back, and I mean, there are cases where, like, an actor will read something and because they change the tone, it will change the meaning. So those are the cases where you have to kind of go back and say, hey, this needs to be redone. But for the most part, I mean, you guys are talented enough to where you can figure it out. And I am pretty much lazy enough where I am not going to demand anything like, hardcore. So
yeah. And honestly, I can't even think of very many occasions, working on your various characters where I was like, I don't understand what this line is even trying to say, so what's going on?
Yeah.
There's very rarely been a need to come back and talk it out.
It was just Marty, and that was
Yeah, I was like, I can't sing.
Yeah, I don't understand the motivation here. This song is crap. This music is crap. And yet these lines are saying she likes the music. It's really bizarre. I'm totally confused. Please help.
Oh, precious little Hope and her fondness for the country music. Which incidentally is like my least favorite genre of music. That's where we kind of diverge pretty hard.
Next time we're going to come back with like Hope's sister and she'll be totally metal.
Excellent. Yeah. That'd be pretty amazing. Her sister that's just a huge metalhead.
Mohawk, badass, piercings everywhere, just leather.
Nice. So I guess she'd be like a raider. Is that a thing in Fallout?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay. See. I know lots about Fallout, guys.
Or is that more
really.
Punk? What's like a metal? Metal is more like I don't know.
Metal is like long hair and wearing a bunch of black.
Isn't that just more like hair metal though?
Well,
or is there
no, like there's different subgenres of metal. We could go on all day about that. Depends on your sub brand.
Okay. Well, let's just agree to make Hope's sister a death metal artist, and then
that sounds solid. So she's basically just gonna do like screamy Cookie Monster vocals. That'll be fun. Exactly. My throat will not thank you.
All right, so I think that covers it. Is there anything else you want to plug or mention?
Let's see. Oh, there is a podcast in which you can hear me talk to myself. Awesome. Because I play 2 characters in an entire episode that talk to each other.
What's the focus of this podcast?
The podcast is called Nights. It is one that has kind of been in the works for a number of years, and the first handful of episodes finally came out in December.
Okay.
And it is basically the saga of this family of female knights who have these interesting powers and the struggles that they go through.
Oh, nice.
Funnily enough, I initially auditioned for the lead character of Erica and then summarily got cast as her sister because they liked my voice a lot, but it just wasn't right for Erica. I sounded too old or too mature.
See, essentially. They didn't listen to your Settler, your adoring fan, had they heard that one.
That hadn't existed yet.
You should show it to me. See, I could do this.
I know, right?
Get this other actor out of the way. I'm being Erica and Amanda.
Nah, the girl they have playing Erica is fantastic. She fits the role perfectly.
See, that makes it harder when they're good people. Then you feel bad for just stomping on them and taking all their roles. So
exactly. But no, she's great. And so I play the sister, Amanda, and then I also play one of the other subordinate knights, Vanessa.
Oh, okay.
And one of the episodes actually details how Amanda and Vanessa met because they're very good friends and loyal to one another. So I literally am talking to myself. It was a little surreal, but it's kind of fun.
But you have the ability to make that seem realistic and authentic, so I believe that there will be no problems for you talking to yourself, talking to another clone of you. If you have a conversation of 8 people, and you have to be all Lord. 8, I'm sure you'll do just fine. Your brain might be a little bit confused, but
so that'll be the premise for my demo when I finally bother to do it.
Just put all your characters,
just infinitely cloning myself.
Just put all your characters into a room and have them talk to each other.
Yeah, that works.
One big scene.
Something like that.
All right. Anything else that you want to mention?
I mean, that's one of the big ones. It's worth checking out. Some other folks who have been in interesting NPCs also are in there.
Oh, nice.
Because I relentlessly referred people. Yeah, I think you can hear Mr. Will Hanford in there.
Oh, nice. Friend of the show.
Yeah, you can hear JT Decker, and you can hear Lindsay Lorraine. Oh. They're all in there somewhere.
Nice. All people who have voiced a bunch of characters for interesting NPCs and other mods.
Yep.
So.
Yep. The Interesting NPCs family just sort of briefly abandoned you for the Knights podcast.
It's right. You have to grow up at some point.
We'll never leave you, Chris. Go. Never. But yeah, I think there's a lot of others, but just lots of random indie games. Yeah. You'll probably hear me around.
We'll be here all night if we had to go through all your list of credits. The point is,
yeah, I do a lot of stuff. But if you played nothing else, go look for Spellforce 3 because that's the legit one, and there are vastly more talented people than me in that cast.
No. Just maybe more recognizable, but talent definitely you're up there. So
there are some legit pros up in that space.
Don't worry, I'm sure they were all recording in their bedrooms just like you. Because it saved the company money.
You never know.
So look for that. Download Spellforce 3. I'm sure it's on Steam.
It is.
Yeah, and other platforms. So yeah, I think that's all the questions we have.
Sweet.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me on. It's always fun.
All right. We'll talk later. Okay.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.